Serious and you're looking for a Christ man, the one who anointed with the Lord, with the Spirit of the Lord to do his will, I'm that nigga.
One West, 125th Street. Look, y'all put your faith in presidents like they gon' change this country. Run the league and let y'all play cause y'all gon' make a money. Fuck Obama, he ain't come here on cargo.
Amazing honor don't like no soldiers. For the Spirit of the Lord, we don't like no soldiers. You understand me?
Like a saint, black, Hispanic, native, they hate y'all as the same. Hate Christ in they image, paint you as a slave. God ain't all love, scriptures say he hate African soft niggas, they know we not the same. School to prison pipeline to get you off the streets. Put you in a cell toilet connected to the saint. Molested as a kid, she prostituted as a teen. The byproduct of Martin Luther King dreams. They just took the yoke off, my nigga, we ain't free. We living bleak in these wastelands of poverty. If you don't know the truth, then the lies sound promising. Prophecy, gift and the curse. Dylan started killing, they was sitting in church. Black folk forgave him, man, this shit is absurd. You should never love your enemy, that shit ain't gon' work. Yeah, fuck dying on your knees, you better die in glory. Man, I joined the UPK, taught me the art of warring. I took a nigga life like mine to be recognized. I feel that pain every day, it can't be reconciled. Pops banging, my sister a prostitute. My brother got life, and somehow I still found the truth. War ready, no cowards, no excuse. Fuck reparations, you can't bandage no open wounds. Blood on the leaves, body swing hung from a noose. I was on a run in Nashville and I found the truth. I called the school, classes being held by the shock on my life. I want to be a gangster like a cop. Do this for my brothers, real brotherhood. Everything we do, we got it out this book. My nigga, I can never be no African. UPK the only authorized acronym. I'm passionate about my brothers and sisters. We in hell, I ain't got nothing against them. That's another religion. If it ain't under YAHANNA, ain't he murdered by them and got a hug from YAHANNA. That's the way out for a coward in my observation. They don't fear the Lord, they indoctrinated. Wolves in sheep clothing, Joe Osteen. Real priest bringing back black royalty. One West on my headpiece, rank and order. Can't let them trick me off the streets, I gotta raise my daughter. I got brothers at the border ducking ICE agents. I got the name change, it was life changing. My family thought it was a game. Put on all black, they said I was going through a phase. It's more of us in jail than it was slaves. Chose.
Aquí somos la Escuela Israelita del Conocimiento Práctico Universal. Hoy estamos aquí.
Lord Commandant General YAHANNA, I.S.U.P.K.
This is what Commander General YAHANNA did. This is what he did.
First camp, I cut off all my dreads. I took an oath when that oil hit my head. Niggas capping like they lids. I'm a priest, I never stick no fork in no pig. I was dead till I found out how to live. This brotherhood taught me how to be a man. I came back to my roots, I had to dig. A couple gaps I had to bridge. I got a rib, I'm married to this work. You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West.
Let me see. Hey, Shalom, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Brakatham to all the brothers, Yahweh Shemala Than Bahashem Yahushai to all the sisters. I'm Priest Officer 500 Barak Yalla with the I.S.U.P.K, which stands for the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General YAHANNA. You understand? And just like every Tuesday evening, we have the Brotherhood class, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, taught by myself. We're live on I.S.U.P.K in Montreal, Toronto, IET in Boston on YouTube, I.S.U.P.K in Montreal and Canada on Facebook, and Barak Yalla UPK on the Bigo app. Make sure y'all tune in, like, share, comment. comment, subscribe. You understand? Push the truth, push the algorithm. Our people need to know the truth. Christ said, the truth shall set you free. Things that our people don't know that they're slaves today. Why? Because they don't know that they don't have their identity. That's the problem. You know, and where do they learn their identity? They learn their identity in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We've been teaching you that since 1969. You understand? If you know you're an Israelite, because you got that information from the I.S.U.P.K, nowhere else. And then whatever you do with that information afterwards, if you're not sitting in class putting on all black as a brother, you know, covering your head as a sister, who knows how you remix the information that you take from the UPK? Whether it's knowing that you're an Israelite, the breakdowns, everything. You understand? Here's a part 2 of last week's class where we're going to see that, listen, there is nothing new under the sun. There is nothing that we do today that hasn't been done yesterday, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. That's what Solomon was talking about. Solomon was telling y'all, yo, there is nothing new under the sun. Everything repeats itself. The same depravity that you see in today's society was done in the previous empire, in the Roman Empire, during the Renaissance, the Roman Empire, the Greeks, the Persians, the Egyptians. It's the same. They every like I said, we're gonna probably repeat that a lot of times, right? Every single empire has built itself on the empire that preceded it. Preceded meaning it came before it. You understand? Meaning what? Every aspect of it, their culture, you know, part of the architecture, their religion, their beliefs, their faith, the government system. What else? All their pagan practices. It doesn't matter if they rename it. It's all the same. You know what else is the same? Our condition in these empires is what's the same. For what reason? For the same exact reason that we were in captivity. Besides Egypt, is for the same exact reason that we were in captivity by all these nations. Whether it was a major exile or a regional captivity, it's irrelevant. The nation of Israel has always been in trouble for that same reason. I'm not even going to say, I'm going to say the nation of Israel, but really the children of God. Why? Because as we covered them here for the whole class last week, right? We've been following these heathens since Adam. That's what we've been doing. Following the heathens since Adam. You understand? Since the Garden of Eden. That's why Adam and Eve got punished. Now, like I said, you know, before we get into it, like I said, they had instructions. That's all they had, is instructions to obey the Most High. Adam was given the instruction by the Lord. Eve was given the instruction by her husband, Adam. Then what happened? She disobeyed her man by listening to another man. By disobeying her man, she disobeyed God, right? And what did Adam do? Adam was a simp. He disobeyed God by listening to his woman, who told him to disobey, who told him to do the opposite that God told him to do and not to do. That's what happened. You understand? And then he tried to blame the Lord. He said, the woman that you gave me, the Lord put Adam in check real quick. He said, yo, listen, I gave you instructions. You had to listen. What do you mean? She's stronger than me. Her words are over mine. Yeah, a lot of y'all, that's what you should do. Ain't nothing wrong with listening to your woman, but if it makes you go against the Lord, hey, Lord be with you. You understand? Now, shout out to everybody in the chat. My brother Mathamya, Diabashin Shabrakatah. You understand? My brother Shalak Yala, Shalom Priest, Yabashin Shabrakatah. Right? You have people in the Beagle say, wait, what's the Israel school? Is the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge, the only safe haven for so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native. You understand? Your children are not safe in these educational institutions. You know how we know? Quick sidebar, because you have a question in the chat. How do we know that your children are not safe in these educational system? We covered that on the One West Ground Zero podcast. We covered that last Tuesday with Captain Hadar. Shout out to Captain Hadar. Shout out to Heads of State, hosted by Captain Hadar, also Laban, also Ariyar, also Shaiwan, and myself, Salakia. I forgot also a warrior, Salakia. We covered that as well. How do you know your children are not safe? I just gave you the answer in the beginning of the class. Because of the depravity of this society. That's why. Listen, there is there like a trend? There is a plethora of teachers molesting their students. They're all white women. They're all white women. One of them, she molested her student for a 4-hour marathon. Another one from Florida molested like teenagers from 12 to 15, over 30 times. Another white woman got re-arrested with 11 new charges, meaning what? She's a repeated offender. That's how you know if your children, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native, are in these educational institutions run by Esau, the devil the Bible speaks of, they are not safe. Bring them to the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Shout out to Tazamak Homeschooling, you know what, ran by my sister Noah, rib of Shishayawan, Ban Banyamyan. That's a proper educational institution where your children will be safe. You understand? Now let's get with the topic of the class, unless we have another question. It says, so all modern culture is just copied from old empires? Absolutely. Absolutely. Lemendez, absolutely. And he said, did you just say all the abusers are white women? I said there is a trend recently that kids being abused at a school are abused by white women. Y'all can look this up. Should I pull up the article? Listen, there's 10,000 articles about these white women molesting the students. You would believe it's white men. No, it's all white women. I forgot the one in Louisiana. The one in Louisiana, damn, I don't even want to mention it. The one in Louisiana, she laced cupcakes with her ex-husband's sperm and gave it to students. That's a white woman. Your children are not safe around white people. Salak, your children are not safe around these oppressors. But let's get to the topic of the class. We have Young Man Marvin tuning in. Yabash Nishabrakatha. Dua for tuning in. And Matamia said, the white tea man is the original serial unaliver. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we might have, and we're going to go back to doing our history classes and show how these people, one of them is, I think his name is Robert Picton. He's known as the pig killer because he preyed on Native women on the west coast of Canada and Vancouver specifically, right? And he fed the body to the pigs. That's why his name is the pig killer. You understand? But let's get back to the topic of the class. Of course, if anyone has any question, comments, y'all put it in the chat, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or Beagle, right? But again, shout out to Magawar, Yabash Shabakatha Priest. Again, right? This is the thing. History repeats itself. And it's time to break the cycle. Because what's a cycle? What we have to understand, what is a cycle in order to be able to break it? Because people use terms loosely these days. In coming into the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, there's a thing that you understand, you know, or your not that you practice, you develop, is looking up terms, looking up definitions, etymology to understand context. Because if we say break the cycle, what is that? What does breaking the cycle mean? What is a cycle in the first place? You understand? Salaki, let's pull up the definition of a cycle real quick. Let me share my screen. There you go. So cycle. A cycle is a series of events or processes that repeat regularly in the same order, ultimately returning to their original starting point. The term originates from the Greek word kuklos, meaning circle or wheel. That's why it's called a cycle, because everything circles back around. You understand? The cycle of life, right? Because reincarnation is real. You're born, you live your life, you pass away, and then you come back. That's what the Bible says. Listen, when you plant a seed, it grows into whatever plant, vegetable, fruit, and then it grows itself back, right? Lemendez, I'm gonna get to your question in a second. You understand? So like they said, what's the definition of cycle you're talking about? The one I'm bringing out, that's the definition of cycle. Thing is that we have to break this generational curse, this vicious cycle that we're in, by not repeating this series of events that we've been repeating. That's how. How do we break the cycle? We do something different. We don't repeat the same mistakes of the past. What are these mistakes of the past? We're going to get into it. Like I said, it's the same topic as last week. We've been following the heathens since Adam. And Adam followed the heathens and disobeyed. We showed you where the beasts of the field were in other nations. The culture that he adopted from the trees. The trees are also other nations. And I'm going to show you that real quick. You understand? I'm going to show you that real quick. And then we're going to see multiple instances where the only time where we broke that cycle, where we were going back to captivity, is when we stopped sinning and stopped following the Lord again. Now, there's a sodomite in the chat. Hoodoo Voodoo said, you're too old to have beads in your braids, bro. See, that's how I know you're a homosexual. Why do you worry about a man's appearance? Listen, that's how I know you are a sodomite. You know what you should do? You should look. You should message an Instagram baddie. That's what you should do. You should tell her about her appearance. Matter of fact, message an Instagram baddie and tell her about her appearance. If you find her pretty, tell her that she'll be pretty with clothes on. Tell her that. Don't worry about how a man look. See, that's a problem. When you follow heathens and you adopt customs such as hoodoo or voodoo that we adopted from the Africans, you become a homosexual. That's what happens. That comes with following the culture of the heathens, being a homosexual like this cat right here. Now we're going to ignore him for a minute, and then we'll probably address him if he's worth it. That's crazy. Now let's go into bringing that precept real quick. Ezekiel chapter 31, right? Again, any questions, comments, put it in the chat. Then we're going to pick back up from Ezekiel 31 because last week we showed you where the beast, such as a serpent, is other nation, people. If you only need that precept again, just ask for it. We'll bring it out, right? Start at verse, we can start at verse 1. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 31, verse 1. And it came to pass in the 11th year, in the 3rd month, in the 1st day of the month, that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, verse 2, Son of man, speak unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and to his multitudes, whom art thou like in thy greatness. Now this is just, we could have started at verse 3 to be honest, but it is what it is. Now this is the part where you would understand that these trees, nations, are called trees. It's a metaphor. You understand? Nations are also called beasts. The nation of Israel is called the lost sheep. Christ is called the lamb. Why do we even see this? The problems, right? Everybody understands the context when it comes to something else than the Bible. You understand? If for everybody in the chat, y'all could ignore this sodomite troll, right? Ignore him. But the point is this: everybody in the Bible, there is like 6ix9ine is called a rat. Is he an actual rodent? Meg the Stallion, apparently a stallion down south in the US is a woman that's curvy, right? but that's still an animal. Some ugly fat woman, you call her a fat cow or a whale. Is she an actual whale? Is she an actual bovine? You understand? What do you call the female private part? It has a derogatory term which you call scary ass, Salakia, scary cats like hoodoo voodoo. You know, it starts with a P, right? I would not suggest to Google that. The point is that's actually a cat. It's short for pussycat. You understand? So it's not that we don't understand context. It's just we were taught to not understand the context that's in the Bible. You understand? A bird brain, a chicken head, like Matamya, shout out to Matamya, Yashikar, the Mexican brothers, right? I forgot where exactly. Talking about Mexican. Shout out to Aizan, Yabashashbakta, priest. I forgot where. I'm not sure if it is say that in Mexico. I think in Colombia they say it, right? Sapo. Sapo is the Spanish word for toad, right? But they use that to call someone a snitch. You understand? So it's not that we don't understand context. It's just we're taught to misunderstand the context that's in the Bible. Now, right? So let's get to it, and then we'll see. I'm going to address the other questions, right? Again, Ezekiel chapter 31, verse 3. Behold, the Assyrian. The Assyrian is someone of Assyria. Someone. Shalom. The Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches. You understand? The Assyrian, a person is compared to a tree, right? In Lebanon. The trees in the garden were other nations. That's the point. That's what we're trying to show you right here. The Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches. Also, Aizan, you asked me a question. I think we were going to address it today. I forgot what it's about. Things about whitewashing. But if you remember the question, put it in the chat box so we could address it. But until then, it says the Assyrian was a cedar. A cedar is a tree in Lebanon with fair branches. Already right there, it gives you the context. It's a metaphor. It's talking about a man, right? In Lebanon with fair branches. It's like, imagine how you could call it. Like, it comes out of him. That sounded crazy. So like it pause. What they produce, you understand? These branches and these leaves is coming out of these people. In the leaves of the tree of the garden, Adam and Eve covered themselves with those leaves. They covered themselves with the what those people produced, which is their culture. That's it. They covered themselves with the culture of the other trees in the garden, the culture of the other nations that were around about them or surrounding them in the garden. Hey, shalom, sis. If you have any questions, Ru, put it in the chat as well. Lamendez, I'm going to get to your question in a second. You understand? So that's it. The nations in the garden were the beasts of the field, as we read last week, just other nation. The serpent was just the most vile out of all these nations, the most subtle of all these nations. The trees in the garden were people, just like it says right here, is the Assyrian. Now, the Assyrian is not an inanimate object. It's someone of Assyria. Was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches and with a shadowing shroud of an high stature, meaning it's powerful. Someone of a high stature compared to the giants, you know, not necessarily someone tall in stature physically, you know, but someone with a high status. Someone who's powerful, someone who has influence. You understand? And at his top was among the thick boughs. Let's keep reading. The waters made him great. The deep set him up on high with her rivers running round about his plants. Really, we just need verse 3. But the point is this, right? The waters, if I'm not mistaken, that was how do you call it again? The trade routes. You understand? The trade routes made them rich and plentiful, right? And sent out little rivers unto all the trees of the field. Meaning, being in control of a trade route, right? You're basically, what's the English word for it? You're like a supplier. You're in control of the. Then what's the English word for it? I forgot the English word for it, but you're in control of the trade. Therefore, everything that passes through your waterways, for lack of better words, and it goes into these little rivers, running into all the trees of the field, into all these other nations, right? You get a percentage of it. You understand? This way like that, you get a percentage of it, right? But the point is this: the trees in the garden are nations. You can see it right here. It says the Assyrian, which is a nation. You know, the trees in the garden of a nation. If you keep going down, it says the Assyrian had feelings or it felt bad or something like that. But you get the point. The beasts of the field were nations. The trees in the garden were a nation, right? Adam followed other nations. Eve got beguiled by another nation. And that's how today, you know, we're cursed till this day. Now, let's go to the book of You go to the book of Judges, chapter 10, just to show you, right? Like this thing has been going on ever since we came out of Egypt. We came out, matter of fact, let's go to Judges, so we go to Exodus. Let's go to Exodus chapter 32, right? Exodus 32 and First Maccabees. Because ever since we came out of Egypt, it's just like today, right? That's why it's so important to be in these classes, because what we're doing, we're reprogramming ourselves to reject everything from the society. You see how you have to shed yourself of the world? Revelation says, get out of her, my people. It's spiritual, because spiritually we can't build the kingdom with any remnant of the culture that we adopted from these heathens. Coming out of Egypt, people complained. And I forgot where, I think it's in Isaiah somewhere. They would complain about, yo, we're in the wilderness eating fried flat bread. There's no spice. In Egypt, we had salt fish and things like that. No, they say in Egypt, we had garlic. We had garlic bread. I'm just paraphrasing, right? In Egypt, you had good food. Coming out of Egypt, you're in the wilderness. All you're eating is flat bread, unleavened bread, water, flour, probably some salt. Who knows? And that's it. Nothing else. You're not eating any prestigious meal that you find in Egypt. Like imagine coming out of captivity today. You know, we're in the wilderness. All we have is flat bread and probably some honey. You know, you're eating that for 40 years as opposed to eating some McDonald's burger, as opposed to eating some stuffed crusted salmon, spinach. What else? What's a good plate that y'all like to eat? Expensive or not, you just like the taste. Some gold dusted ice cream. You don't get that in the wilderness. You understand? You don't get that in the wilderness. That's why they started complaining. And guess what? When they started complaining, coming out of Egypt, people were like, yo, listen, we don't want to, we just want to go back to something comfortable. You understand? Moses went up there. Let me share my screen. Exodus 32 and 1. Moses went up there on the mount to get the tablets, right? You know what happened? The people started complaining like, yo, Moses. He told Aaron, yo, Moses is gone. They said there's an invisible God that freed us from Egypt. Moses is gone. You have to build us a God that we can worship. You told us You know, you worship our God coming out of captivity, but we're not worshiping the invisible. Yo, you know what happened? The people coming out of Egypt, they still were hanging on to some of the customs of Egypt, which is the reason why Moses brought a bill of divorce, which was never supposed to be so. You understand? So Exodus chapter 32 verse 1, it says, and when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, Salakia, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, up, make us gods. You see this? They say, yo, Moses is taking too long. This nigga probably dead. This nigga, we don't know where Moses is at. He said he went to convey with God or whatnot. Whatever he said, we don't know where he's at. He probably disappeared. He fell in a crevice. I don't know. But guess what? We need a God to worship. You understand? They told Aaron, yo, make us a God. Make us something we could bow down to. We could circle around 7 times and kiss. That's what he said. You get my point, right? They said to Aaron, yo, make us a God. Talking about we got out of Egypt. We can't even thank him or show him reverence. We never seen him. Which shall go before us, for as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we what not what is become of him. They don't know what happened to Moses. That's what it's saying. They say, yo, we're gonna have a God that's gonna go before us. He's gonna guide us. Because if you have someone before you, if they're in front, they're guiding you, they're leading you. They say, yeah, we need someone to lead us, because Moses, you know, not only that, mind you, how they given reverence to Moses, because they're like, yeah, it's whatever God Moses said delivered us of Egypt, we ain't seen him. As far as we know, it's Moses somehow, you know, we just marched out of Egypt. Now we have no guidance. We don't know where Moses is at. We need someone to guide us. You understand? Verse 2, and Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings, which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. Aaron said, yeah, no sweat. What we're going to do, we're going to take that jewelry, we're going to melt it. I'm going to make you a god. I'm going to make you a statue. You understand? Didn't the Lord say not to do this thing? You know, the Lord said not to do that, like, what is it? In Exodus 20, that's even before the golden calf. Like, they did the same thing the Lord told them not to do. They did the same. So, like, I mean, they did the same thing Adam did in the garden. They disobeyed, and that's why we've been in captivity ever since. Because we keep disobeying. Like, this is not something new that they were doing, right? Even though his behavior they learned from the Egyptian, we're going to show you that the God they made, that golden calf, listen, they were worshiping that calf in Egypt. It's not just a coincidence they made a golden calf. You know, it's not out of the wilderness, we're just gonna make a calf. Why not a bird or a rock? Right? Coming out of Egypt, they just made themselves a copy of an Egyptian god. I forgot the name. You understand? Now, let's go to Exodus 20 real quick. I know also we're going to go to 1 Maccabees, which we will, but watch this. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. And God spake all these words, saying. So the Lord is giving them the word. He's telling them, yo, here's the thing, right? I am the Lord thy God. Thy, meaning your, it's a possessive pronoun. The nation of Israel was told, yo, I am your God. I am the power that brought you out of Egypt. Just know that. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt. I brought you out of captivity. I'm the one who did it. Right? Out of the house of bondage. Bondage meaning captivity, meaning slavery. Verse 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. What did they do? They say, Aaron, make us some gods. The Lord told y'all in chapter 20, don't make any other gods. I'm the one. I'm the only one. I'm the one that brought you out of Egypt. Salakia. You understand? Verse 4. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. It's telling you right here. Don't make any graven images. What did it say? Aaron said, yo, melt. We're going to take your earrings. We're going to melt them. And they didn't make a golden calf. They made a graven image. Let me see if I can show y'all what's the god of Egypt. Yeah, there you go. I had forgotten the name. That's Apis. Let me see if I can share my screen. That's the god they made. That's the god they replicated. You think just someone out of the blue said, just make a golden calf? Why not making a statue of a human? Why not make, you know what, a bird, a rock, or anything like that? You understand? Why not that? Yo, listen. They just made a calf because coming out of Egypt, that's one of the gods they remembered. You know, you think it's a coincidence? The tribe of Issachar worshiped the Cholo dog. You know, the Cholo dog, it was like Anubis to them. I think it's on the same level as Anubis. Y'all know that? Nothing is new under the sun. I'm going to get to y'all question in a second. Nothing is new under the sun. Let's get back to Exodus 32, right? Salakia, we have 32, verse 3. And all the people break off the golden earrings which were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. In verse 4, and he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool. He said, don't make no graven images, right? After he had made it a molten calf. This is again, it's not a coincidence. He could have made a cat. He could have made anything. He made a calf. He made a golden bowl. What's his name? Apis. You understand? This is the primary and most famous Egyptian bull god is Apis. He was worshipped as a living deity in Memphis, like all these other gods, representing fertility, which is not surprising, strength, and the cycle of life. Other prominent Egyptian bull deities, including Nevis and Buchis, however you pronounce this, which were worshipped in Heliopolis and Hermontis, respectively. Regardless, it's nonsense. That's the point. It's heathen nonsense. And we repeated that same heathen nonsense. Why? Because they were losing faith. They're like, yo, listen, where is Moses? Like I'm seeing your question in chat, Isaiah, just now. I'm gonna get it to it. Because they're losing faith, like, yo, where's Moses? We don't know. The man is taking too long to go up the mountain, convey with God, and come down. We never seen that God anyways. Now the molten calf, we see it. It's physically there. We could bow down to it. We could circle around it like the Muslims do in Mecca. You understand? We could worship it. We see what we worship. You understand? But Christ did tell you. Listen, Christ in the New Testament said, "Yo, you don't know what you worship." You understand? You understand? Christ said that in the New Testament. You don't know what you worship. All they wanted is like, yo, you can't. How can I say this? You can't just get what you want by just doing whatever the hell you want to do. You understand? God say he kills and he makes alive. God will bring you up just like he will bring you down, right? And this is another thing, because we made a class about being patient. These cats were all impatient. They couldn't wait to worship a God. They could not wait. They were impatient. The moment you left them to their own devices, they were like, yo, they don't want to wait to be able to see God, to be able to see the power of the Lord. It don't matter if Moses split the Red Sea for them. It don't matter. It don't matter. They've seen all. It's not like they didn't see all the plagues. They've seen all the plagues. So like, bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. Salakia. I'm pretty sure some of y'all heard the disturbance in the background. That's the German Anubis. I don't even want to call it that. Ruby is snoring loud as hell. Salakia. The point is this, right? Damn, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, patience. The point is like, yo, they didn't want to be patient. Moses, it's not, they did not see the plague. They did not see the power of the Lord. They seen the frogs rain. They seen the locust. You know, it's not like they did not believe. You know how I know they had to follow instructions on how to put the blood of the lamb on the post of the door, so that the angel of death unalive all the firstborn of the Egyptians. It's not like they did not witness it. You understand? But it's like, yo, the moment they had to be told to wait, like some badass kids, y'all told to wait in order to do something. You are told to wait, and these kids get impatient. It's like, yo, I don't want to wait, you know, and then you hurt yourself. It's like, wait till you cross the goddamn street for the green light. I don't want to wait. You're crossing the red light, and then you get hit by a car. Lord allow you don't die. And even then, it's like, damn, you get hurt a different type of way. You understand? You're going to have to do another class on patience, I guess. But the point is this. They were impatient, you know. Let's finish the verse. After he had made it a molten calf, and they said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Yo, you know how the Lord was mad as hell? Yo, the Lord got vexed. You understand? The Lord got vexed. They didn't go back into slavery after that, but we're not going to go through the whole chapter. 3,000 people were unalive that day. 3,000. Is it 3,000? Yeah, 3,000. A couple thousand people were unalive. Why? Because, the Lord said not to do that. The Lord is a jealous God. He told us previously, yo, I'm the one who did it. Now y'all made a golden calf and say he did it? So you're giving all the credit of my power to your earrings that you molted and fashioned a calf with it? Are you serious? Not even just that. In the shape of the God of the people that I freed you from. Imagine that. You know how the Lord was pissed? You understand? Come on. They made a whole feast. They're about to make a feast day. They're about to make a feast day for it. They made a whole feast. Like, yeah, you know what? This is what we're going to worship now. This is our God. We see it. We could touch it. We could feel it. We could circle around it. Right? So this is going to be our God. Moses, we don't know where Moses is at. You understand? Now, Salakia. Let me get to the questions real quick, and then before we keep going. Any questions pertaining to the class where we keep going? I had seen a question before Izan. The Mendes, why did they copy Egyptian gods specifically? Because it came out of Egypt. That's the influence they had coming out of Egypt, is the Egyptian god. You understand? By the way, let me ask you, Lemendez, what is your ethnical background on your father's side? If I may ask, what is your ethnical background or your lineage on your father's side? Naizan said, I wanted, did Aaron make the god because he was losing faith, or because he was afraid of the people? Now let me see. Let me go down. It doesn't say that. You know what? That's a question to ask for the scripture breakdown, because it doesn't say that he was afraid. So I don't want to speculate that he was afraid. You understand? It doesn't say whether or not he was afraid. It doesn't say he was losing faith. It just went to him because he's the one who was in charge, right? They definitely lost faith. Now, as far as him, let me write that question down to be asked in the scripture breakdown after my class. Bear with me 1 second. That's a good question, though. See, this is what we don't do in the UPK. We don't do like the church and make up anything just to answer a question, right? Or like these fake Israelite groups. We go to the men above us. We go to the seers. We go see the prophets of old. You understand? That's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna get back to you on that, Izan. But see, any other questions? That's wild how they turned so fast after leaving Egypt. Listen, anything could try. What the scripture say again? We're gonna go in the Apocrypha anyways. And if you could answer my question as well, what is your ethnical background on your father's side? Because I read Lamendez, I'm not going to speculate that you're a brother or a sister. Listen, the whole chapter of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, is a perfect precept on how to deal with them things, right? It says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Listen, they were tempted because they're like, yo, there is nothing for us to physically serve. You understand? We need a guidance. We need to see who's leading us. That's really what it is. They wanted gods before them, meaning in front of them, leading them, guiding them. That's really what it is, you know. Like I said, let's go to real quick, First Maccabees. And then we'll be in the book of Judges. First Maccabees chapter 1. So verse 11. You see, you can't be asking questions and not expect answers and not answer any of the questions that I'm asking. What is your ethnical background on your father's side? I'm not going to ask again. If you don't want to answer, that's fine. You will not get any more answers either. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11. In those days, there went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many. That's exactly what we just read in Exodus. You know, it doesn't say in Exodus specifically wicked men, just the people, right? They went to Aaron like, yo, listen, we need to have a guide. And the guide that they made was an Egyptian. It was a replica of an Egyptian god. Imagine that. Saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. They made a deal with the heathen. At the time right here is the Greeks, or really you want to say the Macedonians, right? The Macedonians that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. What did we see last week? Adam and Eve covered themselves with the leaves of the trees round about them, right? In Exodus, what we just read is they were made a replica of the heathen that was round about them, the Egyptian to be specific. Now y'all see this a pattern, right? It's a pattern. We're about to go see in Judges again. The same thing happened. Now we need to understand, we need to stop following these heathens. That's the point. We need to stop. Even the Bible tells you, Proverbs 3:31, don't follow the oppressor and choose none of his ways. We do the total opposite every time. And then we ask ourselves, why are we in captivity? Why are we so distraught? Why are we so destroyed? Because we're in the same cycle. It's like we're in a time loop. Every empire copies the one that preceded itself, and we just do the same thing that we did in the previous empire that had us in captivity. That's what we're doing. That's what's happening today. You understand? Now it's time for us to break the cycle. It's time for us to stop. You see, ants, let me see. Ants going in a circle are doomed to die or something like that. They're not feeding or anything like that. Let me see. I don't even want ants in a circle. Sheep in a circle, because sheep do that too. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share the screen. This is us. This is the nation of Israel. I see you, Matamiad. This is the nation of Israel, right? Stuck in a loop. We're stuck in a loop. You understand? We keep going in circles. And what's us going in circles is us repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Empire after empire that has us as captives. We do the same thing. You know, we follow these heathens. It don't matter which heathen. It don't matter whether it's the Egyptian, you know, because you know what? Because let's keep reading First Maccabees. The thing is that I was gonna say, because I'm gonna have to show that in the scriptures too. Because when the northern kingdom went to Arsaret, a land that was not known or uninhabited, right? They were doing fine. They went there because they know they were cursed. It's not like we don't know. We know every single time. It says it in Baruch, in Second Ezra, they know they were cursed because they disobeyed the law, right? Disobeyed the Lord. And they went to a land where never men dwelt, and they were fine. You could see where we were following the law. We had the tablet with the 10 commandments, the Bat Creek stones, or the Los Lunas stones with the 10 commandments. All those practices, as far as putting the woman away when she's unclean, so on and so forth. Until they reverted back to doing what they did in Egypt and worshiping the Cholo dog. You know, Matamiat said it's Quintle dog as well. That's what they're doing. And then what happened? 1492 happened, and now we're in captivity again. You know, that's exactly what happened. Listen, it's the same thing over and over again. That's the point. We need to break the cycle. We read what the definition of cycle is. We're repeating the same events, the same process. What's the process? We sin, we get punished, and then we're captives. That's what the Lord keeps saying. I'll give you 1,000 precepts. In the book of Ezra, chapter 9, it says we were captives. Why? Because we married heathens, and y'all still love white women. Y'all do the same thing. What Martin Luther King did brought us in captivity. You understand? We damn near don't know how to speak our language no more. What is it? The book of Nehemiah? It says we were speaking in the heathens' language. Right? Why? Because we marry these heathens. We lose our culture. We give up on like that precious thing that we have. You know, the law is compared to something. You see a man that is worth more than fine gold, because that's a man that follows the law. The law is compared to something to something worth more than fine gold. The law that endureth forever is better than honey. That's what it says. And guess what? Honey is so precious because honey never goes bad. Ever. The law is perfect and endures forever. It's compared to honey. Honey is enduring. Honey never goes bad. And we give up something that never goes bad for what? For voodoo? For santeria? For eating pork? Did you know our ancestors literally got tortured because they refused to eat pork? Hey man, let me stop being long-winded because Matamiat has a question, right? Let's go real quick. Let's finish First Maccabees and then let me get to your question, Matamiat. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11. Again, it says, in those days there went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Like I said, you can find in the Old Testament somewhere. Listen, we could start complaining. We in the wilderness, we eating flat bread every day. We don't eat the figs that we can find in Egypt. In Egypt, I know they had dates. Dates is not bad. I used to eat some. It's not bad. We complain because we can't eat dates no more. We can't eat, garlic. It's like today again. You go out in the wilderness and you can't eat. I don't know what the hell y'all like to eat. Y'all gotta eat unleavened bread for 40 days every day. Damn. In the same way they complain coming out of Egypt, they always complain. That's why they always follow the heathens. They want to be like the cool kids. It's boring to just not go out to the strip club. Therefore, you're going to go follow the heathens that own the strip club and be like, yo, let's make a deal. Let me, whatever we got to do, let us in. We want to be a part of the party. We want to be in a public party when our parties are private parties. The Passover is a private party, only for so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native. Our cookouts are private parties. And it's that every feast, Sunday, May 31st, the Feast of First Fruits, that's a private party. Private, separate, holy. You understand? It's not for everybody. But you want to be like everybody. That's why you follow everybody. And that's the problem. Let's keep on reading. Verse 12. So this device pleased them well, meaning this plan is like, yeah, all right. So we kind of feel bad. So you know what? We're going to join them. And it's like, yeah, you know what? That's not a bad idea. This plan is all right. Verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein. Being forward is like, yo, they didn't waste no time. They were direct. They're so forward, like, yo, listen, we're gonna take it into our own hands. We're not gonna just send a letter and wait for the mayor, wait for whoever's responsible to send us a response back. We're not gonna reach out to the customer service. They went to the CEO. They went to the owner. They went to the king itself. That they went to the king and who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Imagine that. They said the hell with going to see any guards, anyone with a lower rank or whatnot in the heathens society. No, they went straight to the king like, yo, hey, we want to be part of you guys. You understand? Yo, we ain't trying to hear from nobody else. We want to be part of you. Let us become part of you. You think the heathen give a damn? They know if you sin, they will rule over you. They know that. They know if you sin, you'll be just more destroyed ever. You don't have any protection when you follow them, and they know it. You think they care? No, that benefits them. Verse 14, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the custom of the heathen. We broke that down already multiple times. It's talking about a gym. Now, in the time of the Greeks, y'all look it up yourselves. We're not going to pull that up. Gym, which is short for gymnasium, they were training naked. Y'all defiled the holy city for these goddamn heathens because you want to be like them. Why would you want to be like people who train naked? Like, do we really even have to explain it? I'm even going to break that down. Good night. After this, I'm going to get Matamia's question. Verse 15, and made themselves uncircumcised. Meaning what? Circumcision is severing the extra skin off of your rod, right? And it was a token of a covenant that we had since Abraham. But the part that you need to focus on is becoming cut off or severed. When we're circumcised, we're spiritually, of course, we're cut off from these nations. Being uncircumcised means that you reattach yourself or you attach yourself to them. That's what it says uncircumcised. It's not talking about physically, it's talking about spiritually. Because spiritually, you're circumcised or you're cut off from them because you follow the law. You're set apart because you don't eat pork. You don't train in the gym naked like these Macedonians. You understand? You're not a sexual deviant. Now that you're uncircumcised, you become like them. You're not special. You're not cut off. You're not separate. You're just like them. and forsook the holy covenant, which was what? Our end of the bargain is to follow the law and we'll be blessed. We will rule over everybody and we will have our inheritance, the land of flowing milk and honey. That's all we have to. That's all we ever had to do. Nothing ever complicated. Just so y'all know, you know. And joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. We were sold to do bad. That's what it means. You understand? Just one says, so spiritual circumcision is about staying separate from pagans, not pagans, but well, you can say pagans. It means heathen or non-Israelite. You understand? That's who we have to be separated from. Example, separated yourself from white people because their culture is to molest the kids at school. Separate yourself from the Arabs because their custom is to circle the Kaaba stone 7 times, right? And just so y'all know, FYI, circling the Kaaba stone was before Islam, and y'all still do it, meaning paganism never left the Arabs. You understand? Separate yourself from the Asians. They brought you COVID by eating rats and bat and cat and whatever else they eat. Separate yourself from the Africans. They got you Ebola from eating bushmeat. Separate yourself from, if you're so-called Black, Latino, and Native American Indian, you are the 12 tribes of Israel. You have to separate yourself from every other single nation to be able to thrive, right? Now, let me get Mathamia's question. So, Laki, what is the meaning of the 2 horns in Daniel chapter 8? You would have to give me the verse, Mathamia. You have to give me the verse. 2 horns, Daniel chapter 8. If you could get me the verse, Baba Kusha. Get me the verse, and we'll get back to it. But that's what we read. Let's go to the book of Judges. When I said book of Judges, chapter 10. Listen, again, we need to break the cycle. The only way we're able to break the cycle is when you come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. That's our only way. Because every single time, which I'm going to show you right there, where I said Maccabees, since the Garden of Eden, in the wilderness, SHALAM says, Yahweh Shema Thab Hashem Yahweh Shai. We always were in a bad state. Why? Because we follow the heathens. That's why. Like that's the only common denominator. I don't think people understand. The common denominator is sin, breaking the law, following these heathens. You know, Maccabees went to be like the Macedonians. Eve got beguiled saying, yo, you're going to be powerful, yeah? You're going to be like a god. And Adam is like, yo, listen, I'm listening to my wife. I'm not listening to God. Imagine that. We go to Judges chapter 10 and start at verse 6 for time's sake. Judges chapter 10, verse 6. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord. As a matter of fact, damn, I didn't mean to close the page. Let me get back to it. Judges chapter 10. I didn't mean to close it by accident. Share my screen again. Judges chapter 10, verse 6. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord. What is the key word right here to understand? Anyone? Judges 10 and 6 says, and the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord. What is the key word? What is the key word? Most High in Christ. Give eyes on it. Listen, you see this? You can't make this up. Again, meaning it's not the first time it happens. Every time we do evil, we're about to see. Listen, the Lord told us, and I'm going to show you right here because I paraphrased that last time. The Lord, he's an amazing father. An amazing parent punishes their child, right? But guess what? I think it makes them feel good to punish their children. Like imagine, yo, as a kid, right? Growing up, sometimes you got a beating because you disobeyed, or you're being reprimanded because you disobeyed. You think it pleases your parent to see you cry because, I don't know, you didn't do the dishes, or you broke a window. You're just misbehaving. You're bad as hell. It pleases your parent to beat you with the belt. It pleases your parent to tell you, yo, you make your face all sad because no Xbox, no Game Boy. A lot of y'all don't even know what a Game Boy is. It's like it. No Nintendo 64 for what? Months on end. You have bad grades. I think it pleases your parents to discipline you. No, I'm going to see the Lord. It doesn't please him to do that, but he has to do it. I forgot to show y'all in Exodus 32, we were just there. The Lord told Moses, yo, this is a stiff-necked people. They're gonna learn the hard way. I mean, time after time, we have to learn the hard way. Damn. It's been 400 years. A lot of y'all really seem like y'all comfortable as slaves. Y'all don't mind being oppressed. Y'all don't mind being lynched today. Y'all don't mind being deported. Y'all really don't care. As long as you have, food in your stomach and you get to drink some water, hug your mother, say I love you to your father, you're all right. You don't care about being oppressed. Well, it's okay. I will care for you. I will care because I hate seeing Mexicans in cages. I will care because I hate seeing Benjamites poisoned with the #1 highest rate of prostate cancer in the world. I will care because I hate seeing Haitians eating mud cookies. We care over here. You understand? We care. If you don't, we do. We're here to make you care as well. The law's about brotherhood too. You can't be following the law with no brotherhood. You understand? Commanding John YAHANNA cares for his people. That's why we have these classes, damn near every day, these podcasts, these shows, cross the line, everything. Because we care for the people. We could do anything out of the minutes, the hours of our lives, and we come here on time, every time, to teach you the truth. And the truth shall set you free. Just knowing that there is hope. That you're more than just a nigger. You're more than a spick. You're more than an Indian savage. You're the greatest people on the planet. And guess what? We're here to make you tap into that greatness. You understand? But let's keep reading real quick. Matthias said Daniel 8:3. I don't remember that breakdown. I will ask. I forgot the breakdown of Daniel 8:3. I'm not even gonna paraphrase the breakdown, but I'm gonna just ask in scripture breakdown class. But that one I forgot. But let's keep reading. Judges chapter 10, verse 6. And the children of Israel did evil again, meaning it's a repeated offense, in the sight of the Lord, and served Baalim and Ashtaroth. Who could tell me who Ashtaroth is? Baalim is a Canaanite god. Who's Ashtaroth? Real quick. Who's Ashtaroth? Who knows? Just the name itself should ring a bell. That proves that nothing that we do is new. There's no new thing under the sun. For time's sake, I'm going to give it to y'all. Ashtaroth is Astarte, which is the goddess that you worship in Easter. That's who Ashtaroth is. Nothing is new under the sun. What you thought? Damn right. Yeah, Easter. Damn right, Izan. And the gods of Syria, and the gods of Zidon, and the gods of Moab, and the gods of the children of Ammon, and the gods of the Philistines, and forsook the Lord and served not him. What did you just read in Salakia? In First Maccabees, we made a covenant with the heathen. You understand? And we forsook our covenant, and we served their gods. We serve them. What did Adam do? Adam forgot about the Lord. He listened to his wife and she told him, yeah, don't listen to God. Listen to the white man. Imagine that. You know, our sisters do the same thing today. They say, yeah, listen to the white man. He knows what he's talking about. The white man doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Trump said, drink bleach. You will be cured of COVID. He might have something there, though. You will be cured of everything, even the breath of life. The breath of life will leave you if you drink bleach. Do not listen to Donald Trump. He told you he drinks Diet Coke to get rid of what? Cancer, some dumb stuff like that. White man is an idiot. So like, oh, oppressor is stupid. You know, let's keep reading. Verse 7. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. You understand? The anger of the Lord was hot. The Lord was vexed again, because you think it's the first time from the golden calf. I think one in Judges chapter 3. Where is it? Judges chapter 3 is again. We sinned and we were captive under the Moabites, the French Benjamite brother. What's his name again? That's it, a French Benjamite brother. It's a lot. Nah, I just meant the Benjamite brother. Damn. Don't clip that, fake Israelites. The Benjamite brother, what's his name? Ehud. He went to gut the fat Moabite. Then in the end of the chapter, Shamgar delivered us from the Philistines. Why did we have to be delivered? Because we kept sinning. We kept following the customs of the heathens. Therefore, the Lord put us back in captivity time after time. That's the whole cycle that we have to break. Stop following the heathens. Right? Let's keep reading. And he sold them into the hands of the Philistines and into the hands of the children of Ammon. Yeah, listen, didn't I just told you? I just paraphrased Judges chapter 3. We were already captive by the Philistines. Shamgar, shout out to Shamgar. Shamgar had to deliver us. Why? Because we wanted to be like the Philistines. We wanted to be like the Moabites. We wanted to be like the heathens that are round about us. Those trees that are round about us. And what happened? The Lord got vexed. It's like, yo, listen, you're going to have to learn the hard way. You want to be like them? No sweat. See how they treat you. Verse 8. In that year, they vexed and oppressed the children of Israel. All these nations we decided to follow, the Philistines, the Ammonites, so on and so forth. They oppressed us. 18 years, all the children of Israel that were on the other side, Jordan, in the land of the Amorites, which is in Gilead, right? Verse 9. Moreover, the children of Ammon passed over the Jordan to fight also against Judah and against Benjamin and against the house of Ephraim, so that Israel was sore distressed. I just paraphrased to you earlier. The book of Judah, chapter 5, verse 20 and 21 says, if we sin, there's one error in our nation, the heathens know they will take us over. They know they will beat us to death. They know. That's why in First Maccabees, they care that you go to them, whether or not with permission to sin. They don't give a damn. It benefits them. They know who you are. How do they know who you are? Coming out of Egypt, or in the book of Joshua, that woman, she asked for mercy. I forgot her name. She said, yo, listen, we heard what happened in Egypt. You know, I think it was the city of Jericho. I forgot. I think it's the city of Jericho. She said, yo, we know what happened in the land of Egypt. Now, I don't want to be in your way. I don't want to be like the people that I know what's going to happen in that city. If you could, spare me, my family, so on and so forth. She hid the two men, I think, on the rooftop while they were being chased. Right. And then she told him, yo, go by the mountain and whatnot. And when they came back to Joshua, they said, yo, that woman, she saved our lives. You know, and she said we made a deal with her. that we won't kill her and her family when we take over the city. I think it's the city of Jericho, right? They told her we put what you call it again? A thread, a scarlet thread, right? A scarlet thread out of your window, so we know that house is gonna be untouched. Joshua told, yeah, go get that woman and tell her to leave the city because we're about to lay that city to the ground. You know, he said, word, they said, word is bond. You understand? So the heathens, they know. They know the Lord is, they know the Lord don't play. They know. Everybody knows. The problem is that you forgot. How did you forget? Because you followed the heathen, therefore you forsook the Lord. You forsook the Holy Covenant. That's why you have to come back to it. You understand? You have to come back in the right way of the Lord, in the right path. That path is, you can only see the light or the direction to that path by coming into the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge. Nowhere else. Let's keep reading real quick, right? Yeah. People wild in the comments. These sodomites is crazy. Moreover, Salaki, we finished verse 9. Judges chapter 10, verse 10. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, saying, we have sinned against thee. You know we do that all the time, right? We sin and we cry. Children do that all the time. Your parents told you to do what? Don't follow that crowd over there. They're a bad crowd. You do it. And what do you do then? You call your mom from the police precinct. They receive a collect call from you. They receive the collect call like, yo, I messed up again. I need bail money. That's what you do. I'm not trying to laugh or laughing at the condition of brothers and sisters that are incarcerated right now, but I'm just giving you an example, right? Because that's what the children of Israel did all the time. We sinned, we followed the heathens, we sinned, we went to captivity, and we cried to the Lord like, yo, can you come bail us out? It's not what we thought it was going to be. That public party is La'atawab. It's not fun. It's not fun over there. It's actually horrible. We're seeing what's going on. We're oppressed. We're distressed. It's horrible. You're doing it today. You know, how many of us are crying out to the Lord like, oh, why is this happening? Yo, God, could you please make sure, like, we tired of getting lynched. Yeah, but there's only one way to stop getting lynched. There's only one way to stop getting deported. There's only one way to get the land back. And the land is not Turtle Island. It's the land of flowing milk and honey, what people call today the so-called Middle East. This is our land. We will be brought back in our land. There's only one way to do it. There's only one way to stop being unalived. There's only one way, is to go back to the laws, statutes, and commandments. That's how. Let's keep reading. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, saying, we have sinned against thee, both because we have forsaken our God and also served Baalim. You understand? They forgot about the Lord and started serving other gods. Verse 11. And the Lord said unto the children of Israel, did not I deliver you from the Egyptians and from the Amorites, from the children of Ammon and from the Philistines? And y'all forgot who you're talking to. The Lord is, listen, that's how you know God is a nigga God. Remember what he told Moses? He said, go tell the children of Israel, I am that I am. Or what? You understand? It's like, yo, did you just forget who you're talking to? Like, I don't, like, you know, I'm the one who let them oppress you because you need to learn a lesson. You want it to be like them? Tell me how it is on the other side of the fence. Tell me how it is. God is like Mufasa telling Simba, yo, you see over there that the elephant graveyard that's a no-go. Simba wanted to go there, almost got eaten by the hyenas. Now, guess what? We are literally being eaten, devoured by the beasts of the field. We read it last week. We're devoured by the beasts of the field. Now God said, yo, you think I don't know what's going on? Lord said unto the children of Israel, did not I deliver you from the Egyptians? Am I not the one who freed you from captivity already? Multiple times? Like, I don't know what's going on. Let's keep reading. Verse 12, the Zidonians also and the Amalekites, who are the so-called Jewish people today, the Amalekites, who are the Khazarian today, the fake Jews, the synagogue of Satan today, FYI, Salakia, and the Maonites did oppress you, and you cried to me, and I delivered you out of their hand. Why is the Lord saying this? Because it's not the first time that after sinning, we're being held captives, and we cried to him. Like, y'all, we all are repeated offenders. That's what it says. He freed us but from all these nations, and time after time, we do it again. We do it again. And you know what else we do again? Cry unto the Lord. Hey, come help us, please. I got arrested again. Why? Because I decided to follow the wrong crowd. Well, you think I don't know? You think I'm not aware that you were arrested? You think I'm not aware of that? Of course I'm aware. I was there. I watched you get handcuffed, but I told you not to follow the wrong crowd. Now you wanted to go sell drugs, and now you're being arrested. You wanted to be like the Italian mafia, right? I told you don't follow after them. You wanted to be like the Italian mafia. Now you're in jail. You understand? You wanted to be like the white woman. Now you're a whole graveyard because she taught you how to abort your babies. You understand? That's what happened. I keep telling you to stop following the wrong crowd. You're doing it again. I know what's going on. I'm the one freeing you all the time. I'm bailing you out all the time, just so you know. As if I don't know what's going on. I'm tired of bailing you out. I'll do it regardless. You know why? Because I'm a good parent. The Lord will always do it. Listen, that's a cut too. Go to Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31. Real quick, right? Izan, I see you. Bear me 1 second. Sidebar real quick. Jeremiah 31, verse 31. Because y'all going to need that to show especially, anyone really, Christians, Muslims, show them this, right? Jeremiah 31 and 31 says, behold, the days come, Salakia. Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will make a new covenant, a new contract with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. It's a new covenant. Verse 32, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt. You see, like listen, a lot of things, see it as a parent or as a grown-up when you're taking you're being held by the hand, you're being guided. Like when a parent is holding his children by the hand, he's guiding them. He guided us out of the land of Egypt. You understand? Which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, said the Lord. Why I say husband? Because Israel, because Salakia, because Israel is to the Lord like a wife, meaning what? We belong to him. Like Ecclesiasticus 36, I think 24. He that getteth the wife beginneth a possession. We belong to the Lord just like a woman belongs to her husband. That's a metaphor right here. Right? Verse 33 says, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, said the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. The point is, the Lord never forgot about us permanently. That's the point, right? Let me give y'all another precept real quick for time's sake. The point of that new covenant is the Lord never had forsaken the nation of Israel forever. That's the point. You understand? Never. Christians will say that. Muslims will say that. In the Quran, it says, y'all were chosen, but no more. It says that in the Bible. It doesn't say that in the Bible. It says there's a new covenant. You understand that we won't break. Hebrews 9:15. That's the next precept, and then I'm gonna get to your question, Isaiah. And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament. It's talking about Christ. That by means of death, crucifixion, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament. Who was the first testament? The Israelites, the 12 tribes. It's even reiterated in the New Testament. God never forgot about us. They which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. You understand? The Lord never forgot about us. He knows what's going on. And listen, he keep bailing us out. And we still do the same thing. It's time for us to do the change. Now, Isaiah said, who are the Maonites today, sir? Give me 1 second. Let me grab the Maonites is some heathen. Let me see if I could find them in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Then we get back to the book of Judges. They said Maonites. A lot of the nations, you could find them, or tribes of these nations, you could find them in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. I'm using the compact version. Maonites, enemies of Israel, called Menuhim, probably from Arabian Peninsula. Based on the location, it's probably either Ishmaelites or what's the other thing again? Ishmaelites or Midianites, based on the location of where they're from, right? Because the Arabian Peninsula is where the Arabs dwell. So based on that, it would be either Ishmael or Midianites, right? Let's get back to Judges. Pray I answer your question. So Judges chapter 10, verse 12. The Zidonians also and the Amalekites and the Maonites did oppress you, and ye cried to me, and I delivered you out of their hand. Again, the Lord knows what's up. The Lord keeps building us up. Let's see what he says. That's how you know this is a nigga God. Verse 13. Yet ye have forsaken me. Like, I keep bailing you out, and you still do the same thing. I bail you out, and you forget about me. You forget about what I tell you to not do, and you go right back to selling crack. You go right back to following white women. You follow white women, now you're a whore. You go right back to following these Asians. Listen, I seen a sister, she's in China, eating fried mouse. I said, damn, you didn't learn nothing from COVID? And now you're gonna be sick as hell and I don't know, die from a new disease. I keep telling y'all to stop following the white man and his sexual depravity. Now you're the number one people with AIDS. Come on. Why are you doing this to yourself? Like, you see where it says, the Lord is a buckler to those that believe in him. The Lord is a buckler. A buckler is a shield. You remove yourself from the protection that I'm here to give you. And then you're going to cry me talking about, yo, I lost an arm because I try to be like the East Indian, juggling with swords and everything. You know? What else? Listen, to my Mexican brothers, don't be doing the, what's it called again? Bullfighting. And so like that was, that was introduced from Spain. What's it called? When you fight a bull. Get me right. Damn, I forgot. The point is this. Toreador. That's what it is. Toreador. Bullfighter. You know that come from Spain? Our people is so compassionate. You think Mexicans like, fighting bulls in the ring? They don't. That's like, Spain brought that over there. Stop doing this. You ain't gonna complain, man. I got gored by a big ass bull. I got gored by Angus steak. I got gored by carne asada. I mean, I did tell you to not follow the white man, but you're in the cartel. I did tell you not to follow the white man, but you eat chicharrones. All you had to do is to not eat the chicharrones, right? That's all you had to do. But you refuse. I understand they force you to do it. I understand it comes from slavery, but you just have to stop. You know what you have to do? You have to love the Salvadoreños. Because what, y'all beefing over a football match? Love the Salvadoreños. Salvadoreños también. You know why you're so oppressed? Because you have to love one another. We have to love the Guatemaltecos. The Haitians and the Dominicans, y'all have to love each other. That's the solution. The solution is to come back to following the law. And you can't follow the law if y'all don't love each other. I'm giving you the solution. I gave y'all the blueprint. Y'all just forgot that y'all had the blueprint. You know what's crazy too? Every single one of y'all have the blueprint in their house. You just go to a people that stole the blueprint, that appropriated themselves the blueprint. It just don't even read what's on the paper. You put a magazine in between and it say, yes, God loved everybody. That's not in the blueprint. The blueprint said separate. You'll be fine. Segregate. The moment you join everybody, that's the reason why you're enslaved right now. That's what the Lord is telling you. He said, you forgot about what I told you. Verse 13, yet ye have forsaken me and serve other gods. We just read it in Deuteronomy 32. The moment Moses was in the mountains too long, y'all started making a replica of the Egyptian god. Y'all forgot about the Lord. Y'all just seen the Red Sea split in half. Y'all forgot the first born of the Egyptians died. What, y'all forgot about that? Listen, at this point, then you have to make a whole tape or documentary with the number of captivities we were in because we have forsaken the Lord and served other gods. Because that's the only reason we went into captivity. We forgot about the Lord. Solomon married heathens and served their gods. The kingdom got split in half for that specific. The reason why there's a northern and southern kingdom is because we decided to break the law, specifically Solomon, and serve other gods. That's why there's a northern and southern kingdom. You understand? That one stick got broken in half because Solomon married a white woman, married an African woman, married some Moabites, some Ammonites, and served their gods. That's it. Come back to serving the Lord, man. Follow the law, love one another. That's all we have to do. You understand? Matter of fact, love one another to the point, I know y'all know y'all can love one another. You know why? Because here's a perfect example I know. When you say you can't love Mexicans, you're a hypocrite and you're just lying to yourself. Because that's how you're taught to do in the white man's society. You Mexicans, you say y'all can't love black people because of whatever the Spaniards put in your head. I know you're lying to yourself. You know why? Because you learn how to do hip hop, and you black people, y'all Google all the Mexican recipes. Stop using Google and the white man's tools to learn from a brother or sister. You know what you do? You get yourself a Mexican wife. You go see a Mexican neighbor and you exchange recipes together. Shit. I asked to be invited to the carne asada. Have a carne asada. Say, yo, can I reach? Yo, what's the spice you put in there? Yo, that's it good as hell. Don't go to, what's it called again? The Tex-Mex restaurant by white people. Taco Bell. Don't go to Taco Bell. Go to an actual Mexican-owned taqueria. Just ask to be taught how to make some goddamn birria. Ask to be taught how to make some pupusas. Ask to be taught how to make some empanadas. I'm not saying these are all Mexicans, but they're Latino plates, dishes. Just ask. Listen, Mexicans, ask your brothers, yo, how do you make the mac and cheese? How do you make the fried fish? How do you make some jerk chicken? Make some goddamn jerk chicken taco. Make some oxtail taco. Open a, you know, black and brown restaurant somewhere somehow. Go on the reservation and learn. Like, yo, how do you make this and that? Listen, I keep telling people the best fish I ever had is from a Gadite recipe. My mom's a French teacher. One of her students was a Gadite. Yo, that's salmon. You see the salmon you see on National Geographics? That's big and green and red and everything. Yo, I had that salmon. But that's not the best part. The best part is like, yo, it was marinated in like maple syrup and some Gadite recipe. I say, yo, till this day, I don't know the recipe. But if I want to know the recipe, you know what I would do? I would not go on Google. I would go ask a Gadite. I live 30 minutes away from a reservation. Why can't I just go ask a Gadite? Brotherhood. You know, let's sit down together. We have so many, our culture is the same. We would say intertwined today, but when we speak about it, we're going to realize it's the same. You understand? Our history is the same. Mexicans were lynched just like black people were lynched, just like Native Americans were lynched. We were all lynched. We were all enslaved right next to each other on the plantation. You understand? That's how I know you can love one another. That's how I know. Stop using the white man's tools to learn Mexican recipes. Go ask a Mexican. You understand? Then, right, Taco Bell is insulting. Taco Bell is damn near the same as having a Benjamite West Indian restaurant that's owned by Chinese or East Indians. It's the same. You understand? What the hell is a Taco Bell? The hell with Taco Bell. That's probably the most famous one. Any Tex-Mex restaurant, I don't trust. I don't. If I don't see any Mexicans, Salvadorians, you know, and listen, if I don't see my people in there, I can't trust it. There must be a couple employees that are in the kitchen or serving that don't know how to speak one word in French or English. Just speak to me in Spanish only. You understand? That's how I know the food is good. It's gonna be good because it's of the people. And then help me in my Spanish. And that's how you build brotherhood. You know, how do you say this in Spanish? You know, practice. Trust me, just these little things were forged brotherhood, and I know you could do it. How do I know? Because you do that with white people all the time. The difference is that they will never love you back. They hate you. You understand? All these heathen nations hate you. Now, does that mean that you could not love food from the heathens? You could, baby. I don't know. That's your taste buds. As long as it's not unlawful. But that's how you build brotherhood. Yo, man, go Mexican. Be like, yo, how do you say this in Spanish? You know what to do? As opposed to Googling a recipe in Spanish, or Googling a recipe from Mexicans, you learn how to say, how do you make that at home? Or you learn how to say, when you get ready to leave the restaurant, say, ¿Cuánto cuesta? What is it? How much does it cost? What's the check? Just small things like that. And it's appreciated. No, ¿Qué pasó, hermano? Todo bien. Like just small things, small gestures, even just, and I'm not saying that it's not their language, but just, you know, building brotherhood is possible. Loving one another is possible. And if you think it's impossible, you're a hypocrite. Because you do it with every single other nations. The difference is that these nations despise you to death. That's the only difference. But Salakia, I keep doing this. I'm too long with it sometimes. But brotherhood is a weapon, and we got. Let's finish real quick. Judges, right? Judges 10 and 13. Yet ye have forsaken me and served other gods. Wherefore I will deliver you no more. Listen, I keep bailing you out. That's what the Lord is telling you. Listen, I keep bailing you out. You keep doing the same thing. Every time I bail you out, you forget about me. You go back to do the same dumb thing again. Now you're again, you know, now you're in trouble again, and you call me for help. Hey, you're gonna have to bite the bullet. You know what you're gonna have to do? You did the crime. Now you're gonna have to do the time. That's what the Lord is telling you. He's not bailing you out no you're on timeout. Verse 14. Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Like every single time you ask me to bail you out, I'm right here. Every single time you cry unto me to deliver you from these heathens, to deliver you from these heathens whose God you decide to serve. Well, I'm the power. I'm the God. God means power. I'm the power that brought you out of Egypt. I'm the one that split the Red Sea, not the golden calf that you molted afterwards. You keep doing the same thing. You know what you do? Now that you're in trouble, cry unto the golden calf. Cry unto the rock that is circled 7 times. Cry unto whatever God these heathens worship. Cry unto Ashtaroth. Cry unto Baalim. Let's see if they will deliver you. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. Yeah, go cry unto these little, fake pagan gods. I say fake because there's only one real God. There's only one living. How you going to imagine that? The Most High of the Bible is the living God. You're going to cry into a rock. You're going to cry into a tree. These gods are dead. They're not even alive. The Lord God make mountain move. He split the Red Sea. Good night. Where you going? What do you mean? Listen, God said, you know what? Today, you know what he would tell you? So you decide to worship Caesar Borgia. You go tell the white man to free you from slavery. Decide to prostrate yourself to the Kaaba stone. Pray to the Kaaba stone to free you from captivity. Go pray go ask the cross, ask the wooden cross to free you. Do that. What else people pray to? You understand? All your gods of the voodoo god. Voodoo god is a mix of Christianity and African nonsense. Go cry to the African 6-headed serpent god to free you from slavery. The Lord is that's how you know the Lord is a nigger God. You see how he's being sarcastic? He's telling you, the people that you follow that got you in trouble, ask them to bail you out. And who never heard that before? Your parents tell you, your friends ain't going to help you when you're in trouble. Not that you're in trouble. Where are they? Who's going to help you? I'm the one helping you all the time. Go cry unto these other gods, man. Let's see if they help you. Verse 15. And the children of Israel said unto the Lord, we have sinned. Like, I know. We're repenting. We're like, listen, we're sorry. I know. I messed up again. We're sorry. We messed up. We should not have done that. We should not have married these white women. We should not have bowed down to the Rubik's Cube. We should not have, went to the Christian church. We should not have done that. Or worship the spirit of the ancestors. And listen, people today, you can make a cult out of a phone. This will be a new god today. You will go in captivity for worshiping a phone today. Cry unto the Lord. I apologize for worshiping Samsung, iPhone, Google Pixel. Literally, that people do all the time. You understand? We apologize for worshiping the sun. When you created the sun, what is the sun doing for us? Salakia. Do thou unto us whatsoever seemeth good unto thee. Deliver us only, we pray thee this day. And you have the gall and the audacity to tell God, listen, just free us. Whatever you want to do to us, we'll take the punishment. Just free us. What do you mean? You're not in position to make demands. But you still do. Just like any children. You tell your parents, whatever punishment I got to take, I will take the punishment. Just come bail me out. Come pick me up. I'm stranded somewhere. I'll take the punishment. You want to take my phone for the rest of the week? You want to not let me out of the house? I don't care what is the punishment. I will take it. You understand? And that's what we've been doing with the Lord all the time. Whatever punishment, anything. Listen, take away all my riches. I don't give a damn. Just free us from captivity. Free us. That's all we're asking for. And imagine that. Again, you have the audacity to ask anything to the Lord when he asked you only one thing is to obey. He didn't ask anything else but to obey. And none of these laws, statutes, and commandments are grievous. What's that? 1 John 5:3. The laws and the commandments are not grievous. They're not difficult to obey. You have sex with that woman, that's yours for life. You have sex with another one, both of them are yours for life. You can't divorce. You can't divorce one because you want the other. You have to keep them. Says you have sex with that man, that's your man for life. Don't be out here being a whore. There's so many flavors. There's 12 tribes. Good night. There's so many flavors out of these 12 tribes. You going out to sleep with a heathen? They're disgusting. What do you mean? You're going to go to India, worship the rat god. The rat god did not split the Red Sea in half. The rat god is not making sure that, he's watching over you when you can't pay your rent. The rat is probably infested in your walls, though, because you know why? You decided to worship him. And now he's right next to you. When the Lord will make sure that there is no rats next to you. You have to worship the Lord, not the rat in the wall. You get the point. The Lord, listen, the Lord is not playing with this, man. And you keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's time to break the cycle. I'm going to get 2 more precepts. Then we're going to end the class, right? Judges chapter 10, verse 16. And they put away the strange gods from among them. They broke the cycle. How? By going back to the Lord. By stopping following these heathens. That's how you break the cycle. You stop doing what you're doing wrong. What are you doing wrong? Is following after the heathens. That's what you're doing wrong. In worshiping their gods. Adopting their custom. That's what's wrong with you. You understand? That's what's wrong with you. And you know it. They know it. Everybody knows it. But you keep doing it over and over again. And that's how they got out of captivity. I won't say that's how they were brought out of captivity, because they didn't just get out free on their own free will. The Lord is bringing them out of captivity. But requirements must be met, such as to stop following the heathens, which we've been doing since Adam, since the Garden of Eden. Let's finish that verse and get 2 more precepts, right? Judges chapter 10, verse 16. And they put away the strange gods from among them and served the Lord. How do you serve the Lord? You follow the laws, statutes, commandments. That's how you serve the Lord. And his soul was grieved for the misery of Israel. Listen, like I told you, he's a good father. It pains him to see you in that condition. It pains the Lord. We are the apple of his eye, the chosen people. We're peculiar. We're special. We're not like anything else. We're his possession. We belong to him. It's hurtful. It has to be done, though. But it hurts a parent to discipline their child sometimes. It's like you see the child being miserable, sad and everything. And you shouldn't even feel that bad, but you can understand the feeling. Why I'm saying you shouldn't feel that bad, because imagine the Lord. He's seeing his children in captivity. His children literally in cages, being fed to alligators, being skinned alive. He's seeing that. You understand? It pains him. It's like, I just told him to not eat pork. That's it. I told him not to eat pork. I told him to not sleep with this disgusting white woman, Chinese woman. I just told him to just listen. And I'll just, I'll be a shield to them. I'll be the enemy to their enemies. That's all they got everything. All they have to do is listen. Guess what? Same that your children can have everything they ask for. All they have to do is listen. And when they don't listen, you have to discipline them, and it pains you from disciplining them. Whether you put them time out in a chair, not if they feel all bad because they can't run around the house. I just told you to listen. That's it. I told you to listen. You didn't want to listen. Now I have to see you cry. I think I like seeing my children cry. That's the Lord. The Lord's like, I think I like to see y'all cry and, being whipped and being unalived and lynched. I don't. Now, I didn't tell these people to do that to you either, but damn. All you had to do is obey. Let me two more precepts and then we're to wow. Let's go to 2nd Ezra's. To water for everybody who rocked out with us. 2nd Ezra's chapter 13, start at verse 40. And what's the other precept I wanted? Salakia and Baruch. I think it's Baruch chapter 3. Second Ezra and Baruch. Let's start with Baruch chapter 3, as a matter of fact. Baruch chapter 3, verse 8 says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. Again, being captives. You understand? Why? Where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse. I'm going to go through the curses, Deuteronomy 28. Verse 15 on down. And to be subject to payments. Come on, man. You have to pay for what you did. You're being fined for what? For the transgression of the law. According to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God. That's why you're in captivity. Because you leave the Lord. What happens when you leave the Lord? You follow the heathens. There's no gray area. You cannot not follow the Lord and not follow the heathen. It's either or. There's no gray area. When you don't follow the Lord, you follow the heathen. When you don't follow the heathen, you follow the Lord. There's no either or. What, you're going to create your own God? You got that from the heathens. Every single God. You think, listen, people were worshiping rocks since the Roman Empire, since even before that. What do you mean? You're not, what you're doing is not special. The only thing that is special is to follow the law. That's special. That's peculiar. That's set apart. It's not like everybody else. Right? But we understand that we're in captivity because we stopped following the Lord. So how do we get out of captivity? There's no gray area. There's one or two ways. You follow the Lord. That's it. You understand? Can Baruch chapter 3 verse 8 also be used as a reincarnation precept? I see how you would say that. So you would have to say, how does it explain reincarnation? Like, we understand, we're suffering for the iniquities of our forefathers, right? But how do you explain that that's reincarnation? We know what reincarnation is, right? So I'm not sure if I would use that necessarily, because it just says for what happened in the past, right? For our past transgression. You know what? I'd probably pair that with you would need another precept for that, though. Because that precept is not going to specifically say it's reincarnation. If you get what I'm saying, right? Bear with me 1 second. It's my reincarnation precept. Yeah, Aizan asking me that question at the end of the class is unbrotherly. Now I'm playing with you. Bear with me 1 second. Might go over the time real quick. Okay, there you go. I would use this precept. I think it's 2nd Ezra chapter 7. That's what you want to use. Nah, no sweat. Don't worry about it. But you rather use, you could refer to Baruch, but I would not use that necessarily because it doesn't directly say, right, more so that is, for reincarnation. What you would use for reincarnation is 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 56. For while we lived and committed iniquity, we consider not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. How do you suffer for it after? That's how I would use that as opposed to Baruch 3 and 8. I will use that first, right? How? Because you're going to suffer it after death before you're going to come back. Matter of fact, you're going to have to do a whole class on reincarnation. I can't just give you little, pieces of precepts like that. But I would rather use 2nd Ezra 7 and 56. You understand? Because while we live in sin, we're gonna suffer it after death. How are you gonna suffer for what you did after death? You're dead. Where do you go? You don't go burning in hell. Nah, you don't do that. Burning in hell is a Christian dogma. Saying Shalom, Adam, Yabash Waktat, whatever, tuning in. You understand? Right? We're gonna do a whole class on reincarnation. Reincarnation, heaven and hell. We might have to do a whole class on that. But I will use that precept instead. I'm going to give you another precept real quick before we finish Baruch and 2nd Ezra's. Is Ecclesiastes. I think it's chapter 3. Yeah. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Verse 16 and 17, right? Because those are precepts for the place of judgment, which what Christians and Catholics call hell, where you will suffer after you die. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment. Was under the sun? The earth. That wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. Verse 17. I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked. Both of them are being judged in the same place, under the sun, not on the ground, not above the clouds, but under the sun, on earth. For there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. So you're going to be judged for that iniquity that you do while you live, in those. You could even use that as that precept for people who say you only live once. You don't. You're going to suffer it after death. Where are you going to go after death? In the place of judgment. Where is that? Under the sun, on earth. You understand? Now that was a quick breakdown, Isaiah. We're going to go in depth. Not next week. Next week the topic is We're All We Got, part 3, with Officer Shayawan, special guest. But the week after that, we're gonna get reincarnation and thing, right? So let's go back to Baruch chapter 3, verse 8, and then 2nd Ezra real quick. Baruch 3 and 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse. So yeah, a reproach and a curse. You could definitely use that precept to show that's the suffering after death as far as the curse, but I would not use it directly for reincarnation, Aizan. But this is why we're captive today. We're captives. Why? Because and to be subject for payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers. We're captives because of the iniquities of our fathers. You understand? That's why. We're captive because of previous sin. We kept sinning. We kept being bailed out, and we kept doing the thing all over again, which is a cycle. You understand? Now we have to do what? Break the cycle definitively. Finally breaking the cycle and not going back to doing that again. We won't go back. But in order for our kingdom to be established where we won't go back to it, it's like we have to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Precept for we won't. Who could give me the precept real quick for the fact that we will not go back in captivity after this one? Real quick. Who knows what's that precept? Real quick. We will not go back in captivity ever. Ever again after this one. Who knows that precept? Who knows the precept? Matter of fact, I'm going to give it to y'all for time's sake. This Lamentations chapter 4, verse 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished. Is a future prophecy. O daughter of Zion, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. This is what you want. This is our last captivity that we're in. You understand? He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. We're under the Edomites right now, aren't we? Just so you know, this is our last captivity. You understand? Now, in the book of 2nd Ezra, I wanted to bring you to where the 10 tribes went to a land where no man dwelt to be able to follow the law, because they understood that they were brought captives. I think it's in the book of what? Either first or second Kings. I know it's chapter 17 though. First or second Kings, when the Lord removed us from Samaria and he replaced us with heathens. That's why that woman, that Samaritan woman, that's why Christ told us not to go into the way of the Samaritans, because we were removed from Samaria. Samaria was then inhabited by heathens. Now the 10 tribes, when they went to the land of Astarte? No, what am I Astarte? Salakia. Arsareth, right? They said because they wanted to worship the Lord. There is no heathens around them to follow, right? Which is what we've been doing, following the heathens around us. So they went there unbothered, without any heathen influence. They followed the Lord until they stopped following the Lord and started worshiping the black Mexican dog, amongst other things, right? With that, we're going to clip the class right here. Next week, we will do the Brotherhood class, where all we got part 3 with a special guest, Officer 1000 Sharawan, the water for everybody who tuned in. We put the sign out link in the class. Make sure they'll click on the sign in and sign out link at the beginning and the end of the class, right? We're going to get a security announcements and end it. Also, if you need to get in contact with us, the number for I.S.U.P.K. Toronto is 647-793-7844. 647-793-7844. For Montreal is 438-816-2578. 438-816-2578. Questions, inquiry about the school, how to join the school or whatnot, just give us a call, shoot us a text. We'll get with you. With that said, get a security announcement. Make sure y'all tune into the scripture breakdown class as well on One West online classes. And we'll see you next week, Israel. Shalom. This is the I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10 means tenth in the Hebrew. Ma'ashara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation this Sunday, May 31st, before sundown, we have the Feast of First Fruits. You can read more about it in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 10 to 22. Reminder to all Akim or Aquatian, reminder to all brothers and sisters to check the bulletin board in the hallway of their school if they have a physical location. And if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. But that's all. We'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Minavijal Majam, which means to stand. We'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Minavijal Majam Shabbat. Majam, Barak, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Barakatam, meaning Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless y'all. Yajamata, means hands down. Sar, which means to turn and face the sisters. If you have any in your presence, we'll give them a courtesy salute as well. Minavijal Majam Shabbat. Majam, Barak, Yahweh Shamar, Alathan Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh, watch over y'all in the name of Yahweh Shai. Yajamata, hands down, class dismissed. Thwada Israel.
Check me out, dog. Roll the window up, man. The water. Ain't no better, dog, brother. The son of a king. I don't Balenciaga. I might just wear a collar. I might just wear the Pradas. But I'm thinking long term, so I might say the dollars. We ain't no better, I'm just being honest. I should've went to college, but I was thinking violence. This a one West world, we the fucking livest. Break it down, we break ground, we don't break no damn promise. Let's get active, dog, don't tell me how you feel about it. These cats saying too much, they ain't learn enough. You maxed out the first quarter, I'm still warming up. These niggas tossing up a brick, they can't score with us. Who gon' come against us? On the Lord with us. Them niggas riding for you. Hope they rise till they crash. Put my name in your mouth, I put my belt to your ass. I ain't running no race, I just hope that I last. All them niggas you look up to, I consider them trash. Only time you seen a leader was in Wayne hand. Niggas will dap you, then pop you with the same hand. I'm a main player, I stick to the game plan. He don't really fuck with you, that's your main man. We them niggas came through and made your city hot. Yep, said he in the field, but he really not. And I ain't casting no stone, I just let him rock. And that's the kind of story they gon' read about. But if it's war, it ain't no tapping out. Grip still heat, spit like a dragon mouth.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man, if you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one